He said Tony told him to. I
Who?
asked him who Tony was. He said it was the man in the closet he was talking to.
Get that tired out! I'll explain at the end of this video why I just said that. But without further ado, I got mine right here. Hopefully you got yours. Let's get it. Fuck all babysitters. Just saying. If you 6, you're a grown ass person.
Up until the age of 12 in 2010, my parents always insisted I have a babysitter.
Okay.
I guess my being an only child had a lot to do with it. It might have gone on longer, but something happened with the last babysitter I ever had.
Oh, shit.
He was 18 years old. His name was James. It was the second time he was watching me overnight. Looking back now, I can see him as a really awkward, creepy kid. He didn't really say much, and he apparently didn't know what personal space was. So anyway, I was watching my favorite TV show in the living room, and James came down from the room he was supposed to sleep in. He came into the living room and just sat down on the couch behind me.
Oh, no.
He didn't say anything or make any noise after that. So naturally, I eventually turned around to see him looking at me.
So naturally, I just got the hell up and just went to my room and closed the door and locked that bitch. Because I don't know you like that. I don't. That's the second time you watching me. I don't know you like that. How you gonna sit directly behind me? Like, that's weird. It's like, all this room, but you gonna sit right behind me. That's equivalent. Sorry. That's what he's doing. That's equivalent to when a guy is using he's peeing in one of those like urinal things. I forgot what you call them, but you stand up and you pee. But that's equivalent to having 10 other extra ones that you can use, but you decide to use the one that's right next to me.
Weird. I don't remember if I found it creepy or not, but I do remember laughing shyly. Then he broke the silence between us and asked me if I wanted to play a video game. Okay. I wasn't really into video games. That was more of a boy thing, but I said yes anyway. He went upstairs to my dad's room and grabbed his Xbox 360. It was weird that he even knew that was there, but nevertheless, I didn't ask anything. Maybe my dad told him about it. James went about setting up the Xbox in the living room, and he put on what I think was Halo 2. I wasn't much of a gamer, and it became obvious quickly since he killed me 10 times in a row.
Right.
James decided to take it upon himself to get up and show me how to play better. He grabbed both my hands and tried to mimic the controls so that I could get a feel for what buttons did what.
You gonna feel something.
But the way he was standing so close, it made me a bit uneasy. His body was literally leaning against mine as his hands held mine while I held the controller.
Ew.
This went on for some time before I shyly said I don't like this game and wanted to stop. He looked upset and then said okay as he sat back down on the couch and continued to play on his own. I went upstairs to my room to watch TV, and at some point I fell asleep with the TV on. I know because I woke up to the glaring light of the TV in my dark room. As soon as I sat up, the springs in my mattress made a crunching noise. But underneath that sound, I could swear I heard a shuffling noise come from somewhere in my room.
You better shuffle your ass into some fucking Adidas. Cause right now you playing. Where your Adidas at, huh? Huh? Are they downstairs? Are they outside? Because it doesn't sound like your Adidas is right next to you, let alone on your shoes at all times. It doesn't sound like that. So I suggest you shimmy yourself into your Adidas. If you don't have none, may God be with you.
I wanted to call for James because I was scared, but I didn't want to make too much noise. All I did was look around my room as I sat up in my bed, afraid I was going to find someone. Then my eyes stopped on the closet door, which was half open. I squinted my eyes to see better, but when a white screen came up on the TV, it gave off enough light to reveal James standing in my closet. I let out a noticeable gasp, and I guess he noticed. He came out slowly, going, "Shh, shh, it's okay," with his arms out. I sat there frozen in fear as he came closer, telling me how pretty he thought I was.
What the hell?
I knew what he was doing, and when I saw an opportune moment for me to slip through him into the door, I took it. I knew to run to the office downstairs, which had a lock, but not before grabbing a phone to call my dad. James knocked on the door, claiming he wasn't going to do anything, begging me not to call my dad. My dad was, of course, furious on the phone and told me to stay where I was and he'd be home in an hour. But by then, James left. It didn't matter, though, because my parents had his parents' information, and they called the police promptly, who I explained what happened to. James was arrested on some kind of charge for sexual misconduct with a minor, or something like that. Ever since that day, I was trusted to be alone without a babysitter. And it's weird, but I still think about James at least once every other day.
Fuck James.
I said goodbye to my mom as I hung up the phone and walked up the stairs to Tyler's house, the kid who I'd be babysitting. I greeted his mom at the door, who was in a hurry. She told me everything over the phone so that she'd be able to leave as soon as I got there. She hurried into the cab out front and headed off to the airport. Tyler was 5 years old and had autism, so I knew watching him was going to be a bit of a challenge.
Right.
At first, I had to get myself accustomed to Tyler's behavior and ways of interacting, but I got used to it and learned to accommodate him. I would hear him talking to himself a lot in different rooms. Usually I'd assume he was playing, but sometimes it seemed like he was literally just talking to himself.
Because he probably is. He probably is. Whether or not he got something mentally going on, like, is something wrong with him or not, you can't take the fact that he's talking, or it seems like he's talking, having a full-blown conversation with somebody that's not really there. You can't take that chance. You can't. You just can't. For all we know, he could be talking to motherfucking Toby, and you just don't know. All I'm saying is, either have your Adidas with you, or on you. You're just saying. I wonder if y'all can hear my family. They are drunk as hell. And I'm not gonna lie, as soon as I came in the door after like getting off from work, my aunt gave me like a little shot of like tequila. I'm not gonna lie, tequila is like 2 shots and I'm feeling good. But since I haven't drunk or I haven't really had any alcohol in a very long time, when I hit that 1 shot, I was feeling good. Like, I feel good right now, right? But yeah, man, there's a reason I don't drink, and I might get into that after the video, so stay tuned.
I'd be watching Tyler for the whole weekend. On the first night, I woke up to Tyler's laughing outside of the room I was sleeping in. I was confused when I saw the bedroom door open,
Creepy ass.
because I knew I had closed it. I went to see where Tyler was. His laughs were coming from his room. A crack in the wood floor made his laughter suddenly stop, and then the light from his room suddenly went dark, and I heard him jump into bed. I wasn't even halfway across the hallway yet. I still called out to Tyler to stay in bed. Then I went back to sleep. The next day, I asked him what he was doing. I couldn't get much more of a response out of him than, "I don't remember." For the rest of the day, I tried to play games and watch TV with him. He seemed more interested in playing in his room upstairs, though.
There it is.
So I let him be and watch TV myself. Basically until the sun went down, minus making dinner and other smaller chores. Eventually the time came for bed, and I tucked Tyler in, making sure to tell him to stay in his bed this time. I went to sleep no more than an hour later. Once again, I was woken up by a noise. It was a giggling noise. Then I heard whispering. It had to be Tyler. I sat up, rubbed my eyes, and looked around the room. "Tyler?" I called out. There was the giggling again. It came from across the room. I flicked on the lamp, and there was Tyler, sitting in the closet with the door slit half open, revealing only his face. I have to admit, it was a disturbing thing to witness at 2 in the morning. The shade and angle of the light hitting his face made the sight even more disturbing. I got up and went over to him to pull him out of the closet. I was upset with him and let him know it. I brought him back to his bed and asked him why he did that. His response was unsettling. He said Tony told him to. I asked him who Tony was. He said it was the man in the closet he was talking to.
That shit hurts.
My heart skipped a beat as he said this. Still, I knew it was just his wild imagination going off again. I told him to...
You're one of those. You're one of those people that just be assuming shit. Like, what? You're one of those that like... You're one of those where, like, if you're about to take a shower, but the shower turns on, you're in the bathroom, and you hear, and you know it's coming from, like, in the shower, but there's nobody there. You're like, you're probably thinking, oh, it's probably nothing. And then goes in the shower as the keeps going on. You're one of those where you wake up in the middle of the night and it's dark as hell in your room, but not that dark, but it's dark. It's like you don't. It's like, oh, not all the way dark, but like it's some light, but it's like still dark. Like it's like halfway, right? And you see in the corner, it's a dark ass shadow, but it's like nothing in your room that could, like, you know, give that shadow, like, they're like, where's the shadow coming from? That's not like, it's probably nothing. You're one of those where you walking down the street late at night for some odd reason, and you see a skinwalker, and you're thinking it's probably nothing. You turn your head to walk the other way. Oh, it's right there. It's probably, you're one of those. You're the it's probably nothing people. I'm gonna give y'all a name. The people that just be like assuming shit. You're like one of those probably nothing people, or you're probably one of those assuming people. You're one of. I'm gonna just say you're one of those, and hopefully I know what I'm talking about. Just you're one of those. Yeah, you know. Hopefully that can catch on, but yeah, you're definitely one of those.
stay in bed for real this time or there would be consequences. I went back to my guest room and shut the door.
Okay.
As I laid in bed, I thought about what Tyler said, about the man in the closet. Why would he say that? I lay on my side and for the longest time tried my best to clear my head and just go to sleep. But there was a sudden sound of something hitting the closet door, almost like a knee or something. It was definitely not the sound of an object falling or hitting the door. I called out Tyler's name, hoping it was just him playing games again. No answers. So now I called out Tyler louder, loud enough for him to hear me across the hall and in his room. He called back yes down the hall. At that moment, I basically jumped out of bed and ran to Tyler's room to get him out of his bed. I carried him to a bathroom where we hid while I called the cops. I stayed on the line with the 911 operator, only whispering occasionally that we were still okay to the operator, until the cops finally banged on the door downstairs. I heard them open the front door, which was weird. It should have been locked. They shouted police, to which I responded to by running with Tyler in my arms to the living room. The rest of the story is history. The intruder in the closet who was talking to Tyler walked out the front door, and by the next day, that was the end of me and that family. I don't know whatever happened after that, but I hope that whoever was in that closet never returned to that house.
I would have said, forget Tyler. I would have left him behind. I would have been in California by now. Or in China.
Growing up, my brother and I always had a babysitter during the week, and sometimes on the weekends, given that our parents both work full-time. I was around 10 years old when my little brother and I needed to be babysat on a Saturday night because my dad was working the night shift and my mom was in Italy. I'll refer to my brother as T. The man who'd be babysitting us, who was named Keith by the way, actually knew my dad from work, and when my dad mentioned he had no one to watch us, Keith jumped into the conversation and volunteered to watch us. He didn't know Keith very well, apart from saying hi once in a while to him at work, but apparently he knew him enough to trust him with us.
Fuck that.
It was 6 p.m., already dark out. Our dad walked up to Keith's front door with us and rang the bell. Right from the get-go, Keith seemed super friendly, a little overly friendly, always smiling no matter what he said. He and my dad talked for a while after introducing us. Keith seemed to be really nice because he kept trying to talk to T and I. When our dad left, Keith showed us around the house. T and I sat on the couch in the living room. I was excited to see a GameCube. Keith stood by the doorway with a big smile on his face and his hands on his hips as he watched me getting all excited and hooking up the GameCube.
That's creepy as a mother. Like, can you just picture that shit? Like I smile all the time, but like, bruh, I don't be smiling all the time. Like, that's weird. That's so weird. Like, just think about it. Like, I smile. Like, I'm a happy person. Like, I like to send. I'm all about positivity. That. I like to make people feel good and make people smile, and I smile. Right. When you see me, more often than not, I'm smiling. But I'm not smiling every minute, every second, every a day. Like, that's no. And I understand that, I don't know if it's true, but I understand that it takes more muscle to frown than to smile. And that's one of the reasons why you should smile. But like, come on, bruh. To be smiling every hour, every minute, every second of the day. That's creepy. That's weird. That's sketchy. That's sus as hell.
While I played some Sonic game, Keith told T to come with him. He had some games and toys for him upstairs.
Oh, nah.
They were up there for a while, and eventually I got bored of the game. I left the GameCube on, but I went upstairs to see what they were doing. The upstairs was pretty big. There was a wide hallway with a bunch of open doors, but there was one closed door. I figured they must be in there.
There it is.
So I opened the door, to find a dark room lit up only by a computer screen.
Okay.
I walked over to the computer to see 2 camera screens on there. One of an empty room with a lamp on, the other with a room with T and Keith sitting on the floor playing with toys.
Oh.
I watched for a little bit and grew uncomfortable as I saw Keith inappropriately touching T.
Oh, damn.
Like rubbing his shoulder really slow-like. Then I noticed Keith stop moving and just look at my brother with a smile on his face. T looked back at him. I'm sure he was so confused. They just looked at each other for so long. I could see Keith's mouth moving, so he must have been saying something. I clicked around on the screen to see if I could zoom in or get some kind of sound, and the scroller on the mouse did actually zoom the screen in. But as I did this, Keith's smile vanished and he looked up at the camera with terrifyingly wide eyes. I felt like he was looking at me. I hurriedly left the room and shut the door, casually walking down the hall calling T's name. Keith came storming out of the room down the hall and looked at me with a face a hell of a lot creepier than his smile. He asked in a firm, deep voice if I went into his room. My heart was racing as I said no. I could even feel the shake in my voice. He stormed down the hall and opened his bedroom door with a certain aggression. I ran to the room T was in and I told him we should leave. He responded saying, "He's creepy." That was the icing on the cake. I told him to follow me as I grabbed him by the arm. As we were heading down the stairs, we heard Keith scream, "Yes, you did." It came from his bedroom. Then he screamed that I went through his closet too, which I did not. We ran for it. He screamed something else as we ran through the front door to the outside. I slammed his front door shut and we ran down the sidewalk until we couldn't see his house anymore. The man was completely insane. Even my 6-year-old brother got bad vibes from him. I asked him if Keith touched him anywhere besides his shoulder. He didn't say anything though. All he did was shrug his shoulders in response. I was afraid to think about what that meant. We were luckily near a friend's house, so we rang the bell and asked my friend's mom to use their phone. I called my dad and told him the situation. My friend's mom ended up letting us stay there for the night after learning of what just happened. My dad called the cops and reported Keith to his boss. Nothing happened to Keith legally, but my dad had a good relationship with his boss, and he managed to get Keith fired.
Oh. Alright. That's what, alright. Hey. You gotta do something. Can't have motherfuckers just doing that to kids. You can't be having them out there in the public like that. Like, you just can't. That's dangerous and that's scary as hell. You know? That last one kind of reminded me of like the the show that's on Netflix right now. I can't think of it. It has that one lady that's from like Charlie Angels. Zombie type. Hold on. I'm looking at it. I'm trying to look my list. Cool. Continue watching. Hold on. I got you. It's coming. I got you. Hold on. I'm trying to do this. I don't really like, editing stuff out unless I have to. But Santa. This is a show that reminds me of story number 3. Santa Clarita Diet. Look it up. It's a dope show. I like it. It's very funny. On Netflix. But it reminds me because them, like the main family, once something happens in the beginning, that changes the wife, they start to act real happy all the time. That's point being is like you can't be trusting people out there like that. You just can't, And sometimes your neighbors, you think you know them, but you don't know them like that. They could easily be the pedophiles, serial killers, They can be murders. You just don't know. That's why you just stay to yourself. Don't get too close to nobody unless you get unless you getting like positive good vibes from them. You know, but like just watch yourself. And if your kid is like 6 or older, they're a grown man or grown woman. At that age, 6 or higher, they should be able to use the bathroom on their own, brush their teeth, wash their face on their own. They should, you know, take a bath or a shower on their own. Most likely a bath. They should really have no business leaving the house. If they do, they're clucking up. That you best believe that. They should know how a microwave works. They should be able to read on a college level. You know, they should already know like algebra. You know, they should English. They should already know all that. They should know the do's and the nots. They should be able to know when to and how to and why to and where to haul ass. Right? They should be able to know how an oven works. They should be able to know how to turn on the TV on and off, how Netflix works. They should be able to know how to clean the bathroom. They should be able to, figure out, the red flags, sense them bitches. They should be able to like, know when they should just be able to know. All I'm saying. 6 and higher, if your child or niece or nephew or brother or sister or step whatever, if they 6 or above, they should be able to know all that and do all that and know how to. But if you like 5 and your birthday is in 2 hours, no. Just saying. I don't like babysitters. I just don't trust them. I've never. No, I'm not gonna say I never had a babysitter, but like I've never had a babysitter who I don't know. My babysitters have always either been family related or my mom or dad, most likely mom, has, because I was just raised mostly by my mom and other females in my life, but like mostly my mom. But yeah, if my mom didn't know them, she would either stay home or that's that. My mom don't play that. My mom didn't play that. And now every time I burp, I'm burping up tequila. I only had 1 shot. That's crazy. 2 shots? I would have blacked out. Oh, so the reason I don't drink like that anymore is because 1, it messes your insides up. Right? 2, you most likely getting a nasty, badass headache when you wake up. 3, you puking. But for me personally, is I don't like drinking because I'm a whole different person when it comes to. I'm not like violent or anything, but like I'm a very like when I get drunk, I'm a very, very, very sexual person. And like when I'm sober and when I'm like good and I'm not drinking or anything, I'll think it, but I won't act on it just yet. But like if I'm drunk, I'll think it and I'll do it at the same time. that shit would get that shit would get you in trouble. You best believe that. I'm gonna give y'all a story time. Right. I was with my coworkers a couple years ago working at Chipotle, and we was at this bar late at night, and I had a couple of drinks. I forgot what I was drinking, but it was just shit was hitting, and there was this couple, guy and a girl, right? Oh my God, the girl had to be a MILF, and if you don't know what a MILF means, either look it up or you just too young. But yeah, man. So I was in the bar, right, and I know these are like kids. I know kids watch my videos, so go, please, kids, go. The video is basically over. I'm just to give y'all a story time, but like, yeah. So it was this couple, and first of all, they were married, but the wife was feeling me physically and like non-physically. I don't know. Cause physically she was on me. Right, low key, cause her man was still with her, but he wasn't physically with, like he was somewhere else in the bar, and so like yeah, she was feeling me. I was definitely feeling her. Yo, she was bad as shit, and I'm talking like Coca-Cola bottle. You know, you feel me? You know, she had top and bottom. You feel me? She had it all 10 out of 10. You best believe that shit. I almost got into her pants. I almost did. That's how bad I am when I'm drunk, because I'm a very sexual person. To females, don't take it out of context, because I am not gay. Nothing against gay people. I'm just saying that's not how I roll. I'm a very 100% straight person. But like, she was a 10 out of 10 when I was drunk. Tell me why this girl, lady, woman, mature woman, she had to be at least 30 something, at least. In like mid 30s. At least. But tell me why she came in the next day at my job. When I was drunk, she was 10 out of 10. When she came in, I was sober and I was working, and she came in my job to get like some food. She had to be like at least a 3 or 4 out of 10. I don't know what the hell I was thinking. Maybe that's because I wasn't really on her body. Like, I was just on her body. I was just analyzing and looking at her body. I wasn't looking at this. At her, like, I wasn't looking at her face. But yeah, that was just a random ass story time I told y'all. But like, yeah, man, if you 6, you're a grown person. You don't need no babysitter. You don't. You just don't. You know, especially you should not have no babysitters that you don't know at all. Like, don't even have a babysitter that you barely know. Like, have a babysitter that you know for a fact and you cool with. Don't have no like random person babysitting you. That's like that. Come on, that's nah. I'm not rocking like that. Sorry, honey, I'm not. And I low key burnt this popcorn. That's why I wasn't crushing it, because this is kettle corn. If it wasn't burnt, you best believe I would have crushed that. Just saying. But hey, keep it cool, keep it classy, and I love you. Stay happy and running. I love you, my family. So like, in the beginning of this video, when I was like, get that turtle, was because I was at work when this happened. I work at Publix, and like the kid had to be like around 3 or 4, and he was like legit yelling at the top of his fucking lungs at his brother that was across the other side of the store, talking about because he was trying to get, he was like at the toy machine thing where you had to put like 50 cents, you turn the shit, and like a toy comes out, and he was like, because he at the time the kid was like, he was trapped in the car seat, so he couldn't go nowhere. But his brother was like free game, so he was like, get that title, get that title, get that title, get that title. He was like that, and he was right there next in my ear. It's not like I could have said, yo kid, chill out. He was right there, and you're like, god damn, bro. But I was